Oh, baby, we are back. It is the end of the season. There's nothing to look forward to anymore. It was a great year of MLS, and we don't need to care about it anymore.
Not for this podcast, at least.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players Podcast. We are in the middle of playoff season. Well, the end of playoff season. One of our teams has just recently been knocked out. The other hasn't even made the playoffs. So at this point, there's no reason to even be a part of anything. Um, Red Bull just lost this weekend in no other way that they don't know how outside of a nice last 5 minute losing goal. Um, so I have nothing to look forward to anymore. So instead of sitting here and recapping games and doing stuff that, you know, round one isn't over yet, things still are up in the air. Some of us have great predictions. I'm 4-0. What are you?
2-2.
Oof, unlucky. Maybe next time, mate.
I should have been
Um,
3-1, but 94th minute penalty kind of ruins that. I
wow.
had it. I had
Wow.
the upset prediction.
Um, so we're gonna go ahead, and a few teams have already started making their um, end of season roster decisions. Portland and Toronto being of the two so far. So we're gonna go ahead, look at anybody who is out of contract based off of transfermarket.com and just give a little insight on whether we think they should come back or not, and how they would fit in. Um, but before we do that, of course, it's Scarf of the Week time. We have similar colors today. I'm wondering,
No, there's no shot we have the same one.
are you sure? What are you rocking?
I am totally not sure.
What are you
I
rocking?
am rocking the team that continues to prove the doubters wrong, including myself. I was indeed a doubter. CF. Oh, it's blurry.
Hey,
C.
fix your background. What is with the
Okay,
blurry garbage?
hold on. Let me fix that. Uh, where are you at? Where are you, blurry background? Pause. All right, now that we have the blur off, I've got the CF Montreal. Well, actually, this is a fake team. Now that I realize it, this is the Montreal Impact, a team that doesn't exist anymore.
No kidding.
Oh, you also have a fake team.
The only so before we started the pod, of course, I went to the wall behind me and was like, "All right, which playoff team am I gonna rock?" I wore FC Dallas for our predictions, um, and being that we are 4 of 6 games out of round one done, I went down the wall, and everybody except this team and Inter Miami are out and just not taking part, or LAFC. But I wasn't gonna wear LAFC. I feel like that's kind of front runnery, and I wasn't feeling it. So.
That and
Um,
they're also not playing this round.
but yeah, so I went down the wall and I was like, who can I get back? And I had not a lot of options to choose from, so Montreal made the pick.
I can't blame you. Montreal's a good pick.
Yeah, for
Got
now.
no complaints. We got a good friend of the pod that's a big Montreal fan.
That's right. That's right. We're repping. He's got to be the farthest of all of our friends of the pod. Considering we don't have very many left, do we? They're all enemies
We
now.
have we have plenty of friends of the pod.
We're doing something wrong. Then we need more enemies.
You're on your way to creating plenty of enemies. I fully believe that.
That is the goal, my friend. That is the goal.
Even if the last
Um,
one was my fault.
yeah, it was your fault. Um, so, anyways, I am currently getting our randomizer set because we love a good randomizer on the pod, don't we?
Randomize it up.
Yep. I have to remove one of them. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start with two of the teams that have already made their decisions. Um, and we're just going to kind of react to what they were doing and if we thought that's the way it was going to go. And we'll go from there. How's that sound?
Sounds pretty fine and dandy to me.
Righty. So let's start with Portland. Portland's a quick, easy one. Um, Jose Carlos Van Rankin has not picked up his option to buy. Uh, Fochive, Blake Bodley, and Justin Vom Steeg all not coming back while they are still in conversation with Nathan Fogaccia to come on back on his 2-year option. What do you think of these moves? Anything kind of shock you?
Not really too much. I think Van Rankin has not lived up to the level that people were expecting him to at the right back spot for Portland. And it doesn't really surprise me to see him on his way out. I think that's an area where they can improve and build upon. So, other than that, I am checking right now just to make sure none of these other guys have played too much, which I don't think they have, unless I'm just completely missing it. Um,
Nope, you're not.
yeah, I guess them looking to bring back Nathan Focaccia. I guess there's really depending on what the price tag is on him. I don't really see an issue with that. It seems fine. He only played 11 times this year, got 4 starts, 2 goals. So not really tearing it up, but also a very small sample size. So if they see something in him, I trust them to make the right call there. So can't really complain too much about that move. The rest, like you said, not really playing much, not overly surprising that they're on their way out.
Yeah, those guys that we just mentioned in that entire list take up the bottom 10 players, 4 or 5 of the bottom 10 players on the team. I thought Bodley had a little bit of potential, um, to come in and be a difference maker, a little bit of a youth player there. Von Steeg doesn't shock me. Fachive is one of those guys who played and came back. As you said, Van Rankin absolutely did not live up to the hype, or at least the level that we expected him to be at last year, from last year, rather, excuse me. But Fagocha's one of their homegrown guys. They brought him into the Timbers 2 side, let him work his way through. And like you said, he's got a few goals to his name and seemed to be showing some promise. So um, good to see they're trying to keep him around and build up. That just makes me question what their forward situation will be like next season. Obviously, not the strongest right now with Aspria being their leading goal scorer out on the wing. Niazgoda following close behind, but there are rumors he's going back to Poland. Felipe Mora only nabbing 1 goal. The forward situation is up for grabs, so maybe he can go out and get it.
Yeah, no disagreements there. I mean, it's kind of wild that we're having that conversation when it feels like not too long ago they were having a surplus at the attack.
Correct, right? Remember back when they were signing Niazgoda and Mora, and we're like, oh man, these are the guys. And who was the other one?
Was it
He
Jabo?
No, the other. Well, Jabo was in there, but there was one more who I forget his name already. He came in and he was like a $10 million guy, and the league cut him.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, yes. Brian
Fernandez.
Rodriguez?
Fernandez.
Fernandez. Right.
I'm gonna double check that to be sure. Yeah, Brian Fernandez, Argentinian soccer player,
Yes,
striker.
yes.
Yeah, who
I
lit the
completely
league
forgot
up
about
for a
that.
long time. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. But let's go on and move. Let's move on to Toronto, the other team that has made their announcement so far. To our knowledge, again, as of recording, when you guys hear this, are probably going to be other teams who've made their shouts. Um, sorry, we can't predict the. I mean,
I
we can predict the
usually
future. I'm doing it very well, but
I usually try to put, and I don't know where this ends up popping up on like which sites, but I usually try to put what day we record just so
yep,
people know, like, okay, that why didn't they talk about this? Oh, it's because they recorded on this day.
yeah. So it's in the description, just as kind of far down. So I'm sure tons of people
It's
will
somewhere,
see
or
it.
just ask us, reach out,
Yeah, yeah,
hit us up.
yeah. Absolutely, I like
Why
that.
didn't you cover this? We'll let you
Yeah, emails, Twitter, attacks on TikTok. Do it.
know.
Over to Toronto. Daniil Henry, Nabel Okello, Alex Bono, Achara, and Quentin Westberg all out. Femi Antonoglu, excuse me, who is on loan from TFC2, has had his contract picked up. So clearly they want to keep him in the mix, another youth player that they're going to try and work through the ranks. With Jonathan Osorio and Chris Mavinga both being out of contract, however, they will be attempting to bring them back. They're in contract negotiations. Obviously, Jonathan Osorio, a starter for the men's national team in Canada. You can't forget about him. Leave him off to the side. And Chris Mavinga, a staple of that back line for the last couple of years now. Now, what does that mean? I don't know if you put a lot of I don't know if you put too much into that based off of this season, but at 31, he still has a little bit to give, and he can be a mentor for those coming in. So I don't mind that. They needed a new goalkeeper. Um, Westberg has had a good run, but he's 36 now. He's on the wrong side of 30. Alex Bono was okay, but I think it's time to move on from him. Um, and those, I believe, to my knowledge, are the only two goalkeepers they use this year. So it'll be a brand new guy in the back, and I think it's time for that. Um, Achara never really got going. I believe he was coming off of injury, 15 sub appearances, 0 goals, 1 assist. Um, in a very packed attacking front now with Insigne, Bernadeschi, um, Jesus Jimenez doing very, very well. Tough to get in that group and probably second or third man down. Daniil Henry coming off an injury again. Probably looking to revamp that back line, starting with him. I don't know how bad that injury would have been, but um, obviously that's tough. But you got Crescito who's come back. Um, excuse me, I hit the wrong button. Crescito who's come back. Obviously Mavinga they're working on bringing back. And then you've got the young guys, Luke McNaughton, who I think is primed to be a starter next year. Shane O'Neill, players like that that'll be in the running for those spots. So he was excess baggage, and it was time to move him on. The one that kind of shocked me the most was Nabella Kello. The dude's a monster in midfield. I really thought he could have been converted better to a center back based off of the way that he played. I thought that's probably and whatever team he ends up on, I wouldn't be shocked if that's a move for them. But the dude's a monster in midfield, but he never really got the time to show what he could do. Um, but I thought he had the potential to break through there. I know he was in the Canadian youth system for a while, so that's really the only one that shocked me there. I'd like to see a team try and pick him up, throw him in USL for a couple of years. 'Cause he is still only 22. Throw him in USL for a couple of years, allow him to um, get himself to a level where he's comfortable as a center back and let it fly. The Aaron Long experience, if you will.
I can't believe how long you just waffled on about Toronto there. That was crazy long.
You're welcome.
Let me summarize this for you. I feel like pretty quick. The only move on this list that I would end up finding surprising is if Jonathan Osorio doesn't get re-signed. I think the guys that they released are going to find new homes in the league. I would be shocked if Alex Bono, Quentin Westberg, Daniil Henry, Okello just don't end up on another team, whether they're starting or just a depth piece. But for Toronto to not bring back someone like Jonathan Osorio, who's been with the team for so long and is producing for them. I mean, he had good numbers last year from when he was getting game time. So that's the only move that I think would be surprising if they don't bring him back. But the rest, not too surprising to me.
Hey, I like to give detail on my decisions and thought process. Okay.
Well, we're gonna be here for 3 hours if we do that. We have 30 teams in this league.
We don't talk enough anyway. It's no problem.
Who says we don't
Um,
talk enough? Who you did
me,
you say that?
me.
Yes, no surprise.
So one of the things I will say, if we are missing players as we go on to now our thoughts of the people who haven't had made decisions yet. If we are missing a player from the group, allow it. Um, Transfer market isn't perfect. We love them, but they're not perfect. Um, for example, I'm looking at Red Bull here. Aaron Long is out of contract at the end of the season, which is soon, and they say his contract runs to 26. So um, nobody's perfect. We got to work it again and again till we get it right.
Could you randomize it? Can we move on?
I do. Can you take a guess? This team is still in the playoff hunt.
LAFC.
Wrong. It's Austin. It's our friends in Tejas. Austin have to make decisions on Jared Stroud, Felipe Martins, Brad Stuver, Danny Hosen, Hector Jimenez, and Andrew Tarbell. I'll let you go first.
You're gonna have to give me a second. I gotta pull up some numbers here. I can't
All
just
right.
make these decisions off the dome. Like I
See, I
listen, I
can't.
can give you one decision right now off the dome. It's the easiest decision possibly on this entire list. If you
Jared
do
Stroud
not
gets a max contract.
if
I
you
agree.
do not bring back Brad Stuver, you should dissolve as a franchise.
So
Any
so
disagreements?
so Red Bull legend Jared Stroud just kind of left off to the side there. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm going to delete him off the list if you mention him again.
I think you are out of your mind.
All right, let me take a look. I will
That's
try
right.
to.
I'll go ahead and speak. Jared
Okay.
Stroud, he has a 2 year club option. He's gone. 5 appearances, 42 minutes total. Just clearly was not in the plans, and a very difficult position to get into right now with um, Drew Suai. I don't know. This guy has got like 20 something goals or whatever. He's doing okay. Fagundes is doing okay. Fit 13 assists, whatever. Um, he's in a spot of very, very high demand. Um, it's time to move on from him. Felipe Martins has been a super sub of all super subs, but they can do better for what he's worth. So I believe he's gone as well. Brad Stuver, pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right.
I'll keep him
He's all
around.
right.
Danny Hosen, 3 goals in 14 appearances, 300 minutes. Again, with that revamped attacking line, and I know they're still looking to bring in other players. Um, I'm going to say that he's probably on his way out. Hector Jimenez has not made an appearance to my. Oh, yes, he has. He made 14 appearances, 8 of them starts, 33 years old. Um, Another guy that I think has given good minutes, but it might be time to pass the torch. So I'm going to say he's gone. Andrew Tarbell, a backup who has had a rough go of it. I do remember his game against Red Bull where he let 2 goals go through his hands. Um, yeah, might be time to move on from him as well. So those are going to be my picks.
Yeah, I had the same thing as you. I feel like this is generally straightforward. I mean, I could see them maybe like flipping one of the decisions we made, like one of the no's could possibly become a yes. But to be honest, I feel like both you and I are on the same page in that like we see Stuver as a yes and the rest of them as a no. Um, Pretty much for the same reasons. I just think a lot of these guys are also getting up there a bit in age. These aren't like young guys who aren't like, racking up 20 appearances and like have potential to get to that point eventually. I think you probably I almost say you probably move on and try out the young guys and see who can like stick the landing a bit more. Um but yeah, I agree with you. I think for me, Stuver is the only yes on this one.
Yeah, no complaints there. Shall we move on?
Yeah, sounds
This
good.
team also still in the playoff hunt.
LAFC.
Nope. It's the other team in Tejas. FC Dallas, the first year expansion side.
I'm
Can you
gonna
go
keep
first? Or
guessing.
do I need
I'm gonna keep guessing LAFC until it's LAFC because that was my first guess, and I'm just gonna stick with it until it's right. All right, let's.
Are you going to go first or do I need to take it over?
If you give me a second to pull up
I don't
my
have a second.
spreadsheets,
Dead air
I
is
don't
lost
even know. I
listeners
don't
corner.
even know where they are in our spreadsheet because this is such a large spreadsheet. I found them. Okay, let's see. Nanu. Nanu played. Was that I think 27 appearances, 11 starts. Loan option to buy. That's a tough one to start off with. I feel like he didn't play as much as I had thought he would. I thought he'd be a bit more of a starter for them, and it seems like he was more of a bench guy. I feel like, and I don't know the numbers exactly, but I just kind of feel like the price is going to be kind of high for him. So I'm leaning towards this being a no, assuming that the price is high. If it's cheap, I don't see why they wouldn't do it, considering he still did play 27 appearances last season. But going off the assumption that it's like a bit more pricey, I'm going to say no. Marco Farfan, That one's a pretty easy one for me. That's definitely a yes. Young guy, played a lot this last season. Really is like starting to find a home here. Edwin Cerrillo. So you said no here, and I'm curious why, considering he played 32 appearances. He made 32 appearances last season.
I'll tell you why when it's my turn. Why don't you do your stuff?
Okay.
Don't
I'm
worry
gonna
about
say
it.
I'm gonna say yes, considering he made 20 starts and had 32 appearances last season and almost 2,000 minutes, and for the fact that he's 22. As long as he's not requesting like some ridiculous bump up in pay, then I don't see why they don't bring him back. Hedges, that's going to be a yes for me. Also, this guy's a club legend. He is 32, so he's a bit older, but I think he will provide good experience and still be able to give them good minutes, despite being a bit older in terms of like the FC Dallas team. Josh Quinones is somewhere on this list. 7 appearances. I'm gonna say no. I'm totally gonna flub something because I'm gonna look at some guy and he's gonna have like ended up on loan or injured or something. And it's gonna be like, oh, this guy was gonna be a staple of the team, but he only played 5 games because he tore his ACL in the beginning of the season. Uh Tasiki, oh boy. Sabalang. Um 26 appearances, 11 starts. Yeah, I think he played enough with an option. I think they would exercise the option there. Eddie Munjoma. Eddie made 3 appearances. I'm gonna say that's a no. Thomas Roberts. I'm gonna, so you said yes here, not to spoil it. I'm gonna say no in this case, considering he made 0 appearances for the team, but this feels like one where he was out on loan somewhere. Is that true? Was he out on loan somewhere?
Yeah, he's one of the like 4 guys that went over to the Eredivisie and played.
Okay, then I'm gonna change that to yes.
You cheat. You
What do you mean
cheat.
cheat?
You're a cheat.
How am I cheat? What do you
You're a
mean?
cheat. You're a cheat.
You were
That's all I
just
have to say.
withholding information from me.
That's all I
I
have to
thought I
say.
remembered him being on loan. It would have been surprising to see him have 0 appearances. Um, and then I think I believe the rest of the guys on this list do not have many, if any, appearances. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna say the rest are all. Okay, so I don't know how you expect me to do this on the fly. This is awful. Nobody's gonna want to listen to me go through this right now.
Just know what you're talking about. It's very easy.
I had 0 time to prep this. I just came off of work to do this right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't just get to sit around all day. Um, Khalil Edmedkar, 5 appearances. Gonna say no. Benny Redzich. That
I'm
was good
making you do
enough.
it first every time because it's just funny listening to you trying to say names.
Names are hard. All right. 6 appearances. He was only 20. I could maybe see them possibly picking up that option, but I'll stick with no. Lucas Bartlett, 25, had 0 appearances. I don't know if he was out on loan. I'm going to check that really quick. I don't think he was.
Come on, you got 2 more.
So I'm going to say no on Lucas. And then Antonio Carrera. Where is Antonio? I don't even see him on my list. But you put yes, so there's probably a reason why you put yes. So I'm going to say yes also.
This is why this is my podcast and you're just here for the fun.
Yeah, I am here for the fun. Somebody's got to bring the fun, and it's not you.
All right. For me, Nanu, is going to be strictly dependent on what his option to buy number is. He took a little bit of time to get involved, but when he did, he settled in all right. And they need players like that just to rotate around. I'm leaning more towards no, but if that number is easy enough to bring in where it doesn't really tie off your roster ability,
Yeah, sure.
that
Just copy what I said. That's all right.
I think he comes back in. Marco Farfan, obviously a yes, one of the best players on the side so far. One of those very rare win-win trades for LA and FC Dallas, where Farfan came here and Hollingshead went to LA, and they've both done very, very well. Edwin Cerrillo, I said no because he, out of all the center mids in that group, now with Sebastian Lletget, Paxton, Quignon, Tasiki, Servania, and now this, and then you get to Cerrillo. All those guys had better numbers than him in similar appearances. I mean, Lletget, obviously a little bit skewed because he came over late, but we know what he can do. He's a men's national team icon. So I believe that they can move him on and backfill him with another one of those FC Dallas youth pipeline guys. I just think it might be time to move on from him. I think they're in a good enough position where they don't need him. And he has also been up and down, right? He has his moments and he doesn't. Matt Hedges, obviously captain of the team, the face of FC Dallas, has to be here. Quinones came in, didn't really make an impact. I don't believe any number outside of 0 is worth his option to buy. So I'm going to say no. Tasiki, I just mentioned it. He in the same position as Cerrillo. You're going to take one of them, and he is the one that I'm going to go with. Eddie Munonja. Oh, I might have butchered that. Munjoma. Eddie Munjoma. Just didn't make as many.
Listening to you pronounce names is so funny.
Quiet. 3 appearances in a spot where they've been rotating through, with Marco Farfan and Nanu in the mix. Tough for him to get in, as well as Twamasi. I just don't see him coming back making an impact. Thomas Roberts out on loan to the Eredivisie. If I remember correctly, that's where he was. I just don't remember if he was at the VVV Vinolo, because now I'm digging in my FIFA knowledge here. No, he was in Austria. Excuse me, he was in the Austrian Bundesliga. Did he make any appearances? I don't know if he did. He made 11 appearances, had an assist. So I think they obviously loaned him out overseas for a reason. He will stick around. Khalil El Medkar, University of Kentucky lad. Just hasn't gotten going. He was one of those super subs coming in. And he didn't do it very many times. I just don't think there's a need for him. I think they can do better in that spot. They'll probably move him on or just reserve him directly to Dallas 2. Benny Redzik, same deal. Just never got in, never made too many impacts. Lucas Bartlett, their first-round draft pick this year. As a center back, he's kind of the next guy up, if I remember correctly. Lucas Bartlett out of UWash. Let's see if my ball knowledge is there. No, St. John's. Darn it, I messed it up. Ball knowledge not high. But he's your first-round pick. You're not letting him go anytime soon, I don't believe. So I think he comes back and goes directly to FC Dallas 2 for another year. Antonio Carrera, if you want to be more specific about it. U.S. men's national team U20 goalkeeper. is Mr. Carrera. I don't believe he's going anywhere anytime soon. If they do, it's overseas. He was called into the June camp for June to July CONCACAF U20 champions. So he has that on his resume. He's coming back. Cool.
Thumbs up.
All right. This team was but is
LAFC.
no
LAFC.
longer in the running.
LAFC.
Stop it. Do it right.
Red Bull.
Correct. The Red Bulls. All right. Let's do this very quickly. Caden Clark, loan with an option for 1 year. He's gone. See ya. Kyle Duncan, gone. See ya. Omir Fernandez.
Gone.
Skip.
See ya. No, I'm just kidding.
Skip, because it's always the year of Omir, and Struber likes him. Struber likes him. He gave good minutes early. With the way that our transfer policy is, I think he's going to stay. Elias Manuel, I think they're going to do everything they can to bring him back. I think he showed well. He finally started settling in the team. He came in late, but he showed well for what he could do. I think he might have one of those, no, I won't say difficult, but slow starts to a season, and then the next, or slow start to a half season, and then the next start of the season he blows up. So I think that's for him. Dylan Nealis, goodbye. I was hyped to have him play next to his brother. He's just not it. He's not the guy. Wiki Carmona is an interesting one because of the international slot distinction. I'm going to say he goes, but he has a lot of potential. So I wouldn't be shocked they try and bring him back. Jake LaCava comes back. He absolutely lit it up for insert USL championship team here. Oh, I want to say Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay Rowdies. Currently 12 goals, 6 assists from the right wing spot in the championship. So we talk about needing an attacking winger. He's the guy. Zach Ryan, 4th round draft pick, or maybe a homegrown signing. He didn't get a lot of options off the bench. That is going to depend strictly on if they can get Patrick Klimala off, because I don't think he's in Struber's plans. I think they're going to try and get him off. I'm going to say he doesn't come back for now. Ryan Mera will come back if he wants. I think the team will have him. I think he's a great number 2. When Coronel went down in the playoff game, he got back up, but I had no worries because I know Ryan can do the job. I think he's great in that number 2 spot. If he would like to still be in that spot, I would welcome him back. Steven Suerta comes back. He is a 16-year-old who is on his way to greatness. AJ Marcucci comes back, but goes straight to Red Bull 2, Division 3, Conn College. Head coach at Conn College, fun fact, former graduate assistant at Alfred University. You need to react to that. That's really cool.
Woohoo!
Jesus Castellano spent all of his time at RB2. Did get a few short-term loans up to Red Bull. I think he goes to Red Bull 2. Matt Nocidia, same deal. Had trouble getting clearance from the U.S. Navy to join Red Bull 2, but now that he has, I believe he comes back and goes. Aaron Long is the big one. Everything I'm reading, I don't know why Transfer Market doesn't have it, but Aaron Long is from what I'm reading, is set to not be here next year. I'm going to try and find the article really quick to make sure that I'm not wrong. If that is the case, I think he's gone.
Considering
From Tom
if
Bogert,
he's not here
will
next
Aaron
year,
Long be
then he's
back? Here,
gone.
here it is. Club captain, former MLS Defender of the Year, Aaron Long, out of contract following the season. Okay. So here's the thing. We have a history of letting our captains go as soon as they're named captain, like within 2 years. This is his first one. That, obviously, I'm not playing too far into it, but I don't believe he's done enough to earn that spot. Aaron Long is gone at the end of the year. Where he goes, I don't know. He'll go into waiver wire. Knowing our luck, NYC will pick him up and he'll torment us for the next 4 years.
I hope he
But
does.
but Aaron Long, I do not believe will be back at the end of this year. I know there's some overseas interest. There is some obviously around the league interest as well. I don't believe he's back next year. Ever since that Achilles injury, he has been a shell of what we knew him to be. Um, I don't believe they will bring him back. And fun fact, he is about to be on the wrong side of 30. You know how Red Bull feels about players on the wrong side of 30. If you're not a goalkeeper, you're not here. Sorry.
So I've got a few different than you have.
It's because you're wrong.
I said no to Omir. I think they take those minutes and give it to somebody younger. I Yeah, it seems like even when they play him, they don't play him for very long. And he had 27 appearances, only have 1,400 minutes. So it seems like they send him out
Pause.
there for 45 and say pause.
Yeah. Well, not pause the recording, but pause your voice. The dude is 23. What do you mean somebody younger?
Like somebody 21, 20.
Who?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe
You
they
you could have said Jake
well,
LaCava and I would have heard it.
I could have said what?
You could have said Jake LaCava, I would have heard you out, but because you don't have an
Okay,
answer,
sure.
you're wrong.
Jake LaCava, Wiki Carmona. I don't know.
You're picking one of two.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back, but I feel like I could also see them moving on and saying, all right, let's bring in some young Brazilian from Red Bull Brazil, and he's gonna take those minutes now. Um, where else? I said they bring back Wiki Carmona. I know he's got the international spot, but 19 years old, I feel like he's got good promise. I think that's what Red Bull loves. They'll make it work. Uh I said Mara doesn't come back. I feel like I think if you're going to bring back someone like AJ Marcucci, I feel like somebody has to like either get bumped up, whether that's him or someone else in the organization. And I feel like Mara gets bumped out. And I think if Red Bull really does care about him, why not let him go and actually challenge for a first team spot somewhere else? Because he's not going to start ahead of Cornell.
He's a New Yorker through and through, man. This is his place.
So then he can go to NYC.
And what? Sit behind Sean Johnson? No thanks.
Sure. Um, let's see where else. I said no to Marcucci, considering he's 23 now and still doesn't play at all for the team. But who knows? Maybe they bring him back and put him right into Red Bull too. And then I said yes that they bring back Aaron Long. I think he is viewed very highly by a lot of the people that work with him, like coach wise. I mean, that's why he's always in the mix with the national team. I think that's the same way with Red Bull too. So I think they will bring him back, assuming they don't have to like give him a designated player's contract. Um, and I just can't picture him being somewhere else, like on another team. So I think they find a way to bring him back because he's like the face of this. Honestly, I feel like he's the face of the team to a lot of people for this league.
I don't think he's gone. I don't think he's there. I think they move him on because they tried to give him a new contract over the winter. Nothing happened. So he clearly doesn't want to be here either.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, he could test the waters, and maybe he's not. Maybe he's valuing himself too high. We'll have to wait and see. All right,
That we will.
let's move on. We've covered 4 teams. We've talked for like half an hour already.
We've covered 5 teams.
Oh,
So
sorry.
we're on pace for 2 episodes. We'll do 2 episodes. This team no longer in the playoffs, and we are very happy about it. Or wait, no, they may no longer be in the playoffs after tonight, and we'd be very happy about it.
You're saying we. I know it's you because you're talking about Minnesota.
You're dang right we are. It's
Stop
the
saying
loot.
we. There's no we in
We,
this.
we want them out. We want them gone. Enemies of the pod need to be gone. Oh man. All right, let's talk about it. Would you like time to think about it, or do
Yes,
you want
yes,
to
I
just
would.
actually
I
speed
can't
this
even
up?
find them on the sheet. I found them. This is a huge list. How about this? Wait.
So now that you've had time to think,
Yes, lots of time.
talk to me about your ideas for Minnesota. So let me run through this list here. Will Trapp, Roman Metnier, Tyler Miller, Joseph Rosales, Abu Danladi, Nico Hansen, DJ Taylor, Ja'Cory Hayes, O'Neill Fisher, Callum Montgomery, Eric Dick, Justin McMaster, Azeel Jackson, Nabi Kimbunguchi, and Tani Oluwase. Those are all the guys that they have to make decisions on. There's a lot of people to think about. What are you thinking they do? What's their plan of action?
Um, so I think Trap comes back, mainly because I think they've been a steady playoff team at this point, and he's been a pretty steady member of the team. So I don't think they're going to look to shake that up too much, unless he's commanding like a huge contract. I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way he doesn't come back. Um, Metnier, I think, is gone. He's not the same guy that a couple seasons ago was regarded as one of the best right backs in the league. Tyler Miller, I think, is back, especially with it just being an option. It should be pretty easy for them to exercise and bring him back and continue to challenge with Dane for the starting spot. I said Rosales comes back. Dunladi, I said, does not come back. Hansen, I said, does not come back. DJ Taylor, I said, yes, comes back. And then I said Hayes, Fisher, Montgomery, Dick, McMaster do not come back. Um, I said Jackson does come back, although I'm curious because I see your comment on the sheet and I'm curious to know what that means. I'm going to assume it's something Red Bull related.
No, it's
And
not.
then and then Kimbaguchi and Oluwas Oluwa Olu brain is not working. Um Oluwasei I said do not come back.
Um, okay. So I said Will Trapp doesn't come back. I think yes, he's been a part of it, but he hasn't been a good part of it. Um, I think that they can do better with whatever money he's commanding. I can't imagine an MLS players' salaries because that just came out today, so we can actually take a look at that. Um, According to the MLS Players Association, our friend Will Trapp commands more than $750,000 in salary.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, you can do a lot with that. Um, so I think he's on his way out. I agree with your thought on Metnier. I think he's not what he used to be. Tyler Miller is kind of like the Ryan Mera for me. If he would like to come back, I think they'll have him. But if he wants to go and try and make a push for maybe Nations League, get back in the men's national team picture, doesn't want to sit behind our boy Dwayne, then I think he's on his way out. I think Joseph Rosales comes back again, like you had mentioned. I think he has enough there to fill that role if Will Trapp does leave. I think he'd be the next guy up. Abu Dunladi out. I don't know why they brought him back in the first place. I've had that conversation already. Nico Hansen also out. I just don't think he's found himself a spot. And at 28, the potential's not really there. DJ Taylor, one of their best players this year, of course, is going to come back. Ja'Cory Hayes, O'Neill Fisher, Callum Montgomery, Eric Dick, all gone. Um, Justin McMaster, I have coming back. He was a first round draft pick. Um, was it this year or was it last year? It was last year. So, um, 5 goals and 3 assists in MLS Next Pro this year. is a good return. So I think he comes back and fills in. Uh, Kimbunguchi and Oluwasi, I also have not coming back. I don't think they made enough of an impact at MLS Next Pro. Azeel Jackson. Okay, so let me talk to you about Azeel Jackson. Okay, uh, MLS Next Pro Best 11 this year. Um, if I can, I'll pull his stats really quick so you can have an understanding of what he's done. So for Minnesota United 2 FC, 10 goals, 7 assists, and 23 appearances, just under 2,000 minutes, a goal every 2 games, roughly. He has multiple serious offers made from St. Louis City, the new expansion team coming next year, and also has interest from Germany and England to go overseas like tomorrow. I think no matter how hard they try and keep him, I think somebody else gets him first. He's just got a little bit too much talent, probably a little bit too much drive to stay here. One in an expansion team like St. Louis City, which is going to have its bumps, and especially somebody like that at 20 years old, thinking that he might want to go over to Europe. I think that's his calling. So it'd be nice, but I don't believe they will hold on to him personally.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's probably fair. I would assume then, based on what you said, that he will end up being somewhere else by the start of the season.
Correct. While you are listening to us, the New York City versus Inter Miami game has just kicked off. So we'll give you updates on that as they go, as Inter Miami break forward into the attacking third and are going to nick a win off of New York City, by the way. It's going to happen.
You keep riding that train.
But while we do that, this team did not make the playoffs.
Houston.
But no, but they should have if they used certain people correctly.
Atlanta?
Chicago.
No.
This one's pretty straightforward. You've got this guy Gaga Slonina.
Lady Gaga?
Yeah, Lady Gaga's goalkeeper reincarnation.
Yeah.
As the Rangers score a goal on the Anaheim Ducks.
Oh, nobody cares about the Rangers. Let's keep talking about Lady Gaga.
Boris Sekulic, Wyatt Omsberg, our GOAT, Jonathan Bornstein, and Andre Reynolds. For me, I've got Gaga obviously not returning, going to be part of the Lone Army for the next 7 years. Boris Sekulic and Wyatt Omsberg, I have both of them coming back because I just don't know if there's any plans to replace them. That being said, I also have Jonathan Bornstein not coming back. I think his time is up. We shall see. And Andre Reynolds looks like they were trying to work him into the picture there. I believe he had about 5 appearances for Chicago there, while working between their second team and their first team. I'm sorry, 12 appearances, 5 appearances in MLS Next Pro. But obviously they're trying to work him in. He might be the next guy up. So I think he stays.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had all the same as you. So
wow, just copy
pretty straightforward. Well, did I copy you or did you copy me? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Nobody knows who went first. Nobody knows. It's a mystery.
But yeah, same idea. Anything you want to add to that, or just the same?
Nope, nothing other than Wyatt Omsberg is indeed the GOAT.
Let's see here. Let's change the color there. This next team up.
Houston.
No, this one actually is taking part in the game today.
Inter Miami.
Very interesting list of players here, okay? So you start with Alejandro Pozuelo, Leo Campagna with an option to buy, Jovan Jones. For some reason, Blaise Matuidi is still involved in this list. Indiana Vasilev, Robbie Robinson, Breck Shea, goalkeeper of the year finalist Drake Callender. Yeah, that's right. Bryce Duke, George Acosta, Ryan Saylor, Edison Escona, and Felipe Valencia. Anybody here that you think should not come back?
I'm just doing a little due diligence here just to make sure I'm not like.
Didn't you just have an hour to do that?
Yeah, something like that. Okay, I'm actually gonna change this one. Yeah, so I said uh Jovan Jones, I don't think is gonna come back. I really, really hope with all my heart that Blaise Matuidi does not come back. Um, Indiana, I said Vasilev doesn't come back. Robinson, Breck Shea, and Georgia Costa. So those are the guys that I said I don't think will come back.
Gotcha. Ooh, Inter Miami with another chance. Sean Johnson keeps it away. They're pressing.
I
For
will
me,
say, sorry, let me add one thing in really quick. For Indiana Vasilev, I think if they already had him under contract and let's just say it was like an option or something, I feel like they would bring him back. But because it was just a loan and they would have to negotiate like a transfer with his parent club, I don't know if they would come to something or like have enough want to be willing to like spend potentially decent money to bring him back. So that to me was the reason why I didn't bring him back was it was mainly because of like I guess his agreement with Miami while he was there. Agreement may not be the best term, but you know what I mean.
right. So, especially with Aston Villa hovering above that relegation zone right now, they're going to want all the reinforcements they can get. So I agree with you there. For me, Pozuelo comes home. Leo Campagna, I would do anything in my power, especially with Higuain on the way out, to purchase that option. You've got the money from
100%.
his contract.
100%.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you don't, it's silly. Jovan Jones out. Blaise Matuidi doesn't come back. Indiana Vassal, for the same reason you said, I don't think Aston Villa is going to let him go. Um, I think Breck Shea's time is done. Drake Callender, goalkeeper of the year finalist. I don't know why you wouldn't bring him back, but crazier things have happened. Bryce Duke comes back. Acosta, and for me, I have Ryan Saylor not coming back. Um, we'll see what happens in the. Well, actually, we see what happens in the game right here, where Ryan Saylor is not in the starting 11, and I can double check here, but I don't know if he even made the 18. Let's find out really quick. Live on our feet thinking.
Didn't you just have an hour to do this?
The game didn't kick off until 5 minutes ago, Connor.
The lineups haven't been out for just 5 minutes.
Lineups. So yes, he okay. So he's on the bench, but he didn't start. Um, obviously there are people they value above him. McVeigh, Mabika, Lowe, all of those guys in that group. So I just don't know if there's any need for him, and he takes up an international spot. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move him on for somebody else.
He
I have
takes up an
Escon not.
international spot.
Yeah, he's Finnish, I believe.
I think you're thinking of Robert Taylor.
No, I believe they both are.
For me, he's coming up as an American flag.
He doesn't have a flag here, so never mind. I still don't think he
Um,
comes back.
I don't know. He had 1,500 minutes last season. I feel like he's got some place in the team. He's only 23. He's very young still.
He got those minutes when they were moving players around trying to figure out what the best fit was. And clearly in this playoff game, he's not part of the best fit. He's the next guy off the bench, maybe. But I think
Yeah,
you could find
sure. But
somebody
he's at
better.
least he's on the bench. That's a start.
I
You
think
know,
you could find
have
somebody
you
better.
got to have some depth to this team.
Sure, but what I think they're going to do is go out and get somebody legit and put Mabika to the bench, and he can come off and do the job.
Why not keep both? They could both be your
Roster
backups.
flexibility.
Wait,
And then I have Felipe Valencia coming back in the MLS Next Pro league that they played in this season. He, hold please, while I, at 17 years old, didn't make a single appearance. However, the fact that he is still involved in stuff, I think he's a little bit too young just to let go. So I think he comes back. Edson Escona didn't do enough for me, so and he's like 23. So shall we move on?
I think we shall.
This next team
Wait,
is
hold on a
not.
second. Did you say Ascona's 23?
Am I thinking of the wrong guy?
He must be. He's popping up as 18 for me.
Yeah. Okay. Who scored is very small for me right now because I'm running 4 windows, so things are getting crossed. But life,
Yes, he's
life
18.
happens.
So
Okay,
I
life
would
happens.
imagine he probably comes back, seeing as how he's only 18 years old.
NYC just hit the post on a corner kick. This team are new enemies of the pod, and we are welcoming them with opening arms.
FC Cincinnati.
FCC. Ronald Matarrita, Sergio Santos, Tyler Blackett, Junior Moreno, John Nelson, Don Baji, Yuya Kubo, Alvis Powell, Ian Murphy, Evan Loro, Kenneth Vermeer, the GOAT, Alec Khan, Zico Bailey, Nick Markanich, and Big Jeff Cameron. For me, Ronald Matarrita injured most of the year. I think he comes back and takes that spot back. Sergio Santos, they traded for him this year. Obviously, has a good place off the bench, which is his role. Tyler Blackett did not feature too much this year and was a part of that back line over the last couple years that struggled mightily. So I don't see them renewing that contract anytime soon. Um, Junior Moreno, a massive part of their team, over 2,000 minutes this year. I think he comes back. John Nelson didn't get a ton of minutes, just a bit over 1,000, but with Ronald Matarrita being hurt for a lot of that time, good to have him around, especially if you don't know how he's going to come back. So I say he sticks around. Don Baji's gone. 0 goals, 2 assists in just over 1,000 minutes. Yuya Kubo comes back. He was their 10th best player according to Who Scored, and can play a variety of roles. Alvis Powell gone. Watching watching this game. We were in Albany watching this game against Red Bull, and my coaches who are watching it with me watched him do some things, and we're just like, "What's this guy doing? Does he know what game we're playing?"
Listen,
So
he's
that's the
got
story of
he's got
Alvis Powell.
1,900 minutes on a conference semifinal playoff team. He knows obviously enough of what he's doing.
Um, yeah, but they can do better. So, um, Ian Murphy, a one for the future center back that I think they bring back. Evan Loro, Red Bull GOAT, doesn't come back. Kenneth Vermeer, gone. Alec Khan stays because they need a good backup, and he knows that role well. Um, Zico Bailey comes back, and they've been trying to work him in for a little bit now, but he's still young. I think he comes back and spends more time at Cincy 2. Nick Markinich didn't do enough for me at the second level. And Big Jeff Cameron, I think it's time for him to say goodbye. Um, 37 years old, 2,200 minutes. He can't keep that up forever. So
He's an
I don't.
ageless wonder, and don't you dare slander him. Stoke
I think
City legend.
I think his time has passed him.
Yeah, so the only differences that I have, I said that Sergio Santos does not come back. They barely used him at all. Please correct me if there's injuries involved at all with any of these players, but Santos only had 140 minutes for FCC, which is kind of wild considering they traded for him mid-season. Um, and he didn't do anything until it was Red Bull time. And then
Shocker.
he got the game-winning assist.
Tell me about
Um,
it. I'm aware.
so I don't think he comes back. Um, I said John Nelson. I don't think he comes back. I feel like it's an opportunity for them to try to buff up the defense a bit more. And I think you have more flexibility if he's not back. And I also said Powell not back. So that's kind of where I see them having that flexibility in the back line because that's the last piece that I really feel like they need to what's the right word? Shaping up. And then I feel like this is a really formidable team. And then I think the last one, I said yes, no for Jeff Cameron. I feel like if Jeff wants to come back for another year and he's willing to take a bit of a pay cut, I think he comes back. But if he's not willing to take a pay cut or if he decides he wants to retire and hang it up, then obviously I don't think he's coming back.
Alrighty. Um, shall we move on to the next group?
I
Who?
think you mean, shall we move on to Houston?
No, this team didn't make it past round one.
Houston. They didn't even make it to round one.
You're annoying. Orlando City. Andres Perea, Mauricio Pereira, um, Cartagena. Is it Car? I thought it was Cartagena. Maybe I mistyped again. Goodness me. Jean Moutinho, Benji Michel, Tesho Akindele, Joey Desart, and Adam Grinwis. All on the decision board. What do you got?
So I said Andres Perea, no. I think he will easily be picked up by another team, though. This guy definitely is good enough, and he's still extremely young. But I just don't see him factoring into Orlando's plans. And considering he only played 800 minutes, I don't think Orlando factors him into the plans either. Pereira, I think, is a staple for this team. I think he'll be back for sure. He's like their Maxi Morales, in my opinion. Um, Cartagena, I said I said no, considering the fact that he's 28 and only played 300 minutes for them. Um, and it seems like it's an option for another year. I still think no, considering he didn't play much at all for them. Pato, I said no. I wouldn't be overly surprised if he came back, but I feel like he's getting older. He's had injury problems the entire time he's been here. He's produced okay, but he hasn't been anything great. I feel like they could take his spot and his money and go spend it on someone else who could produce a bit more for them and stay a bit healthier. Then I said yes for John Matinho. He plays a ton for them. I said yes for Benji Michel. I think he has played a decent amount for them. He's still pretty young. He's a good super sub off the bench, even if the numbers weren't exactly there this year, considering he only had one goal and zero assists. I still think he's a good option off the bench. And I was between him and Tesho Akindele for who would be the better choice here. Tesho kind of had the better numbers for the year, but I think the upside with Benji Michel is a bit higher considering he's 6 years younger. So I said no for Akindele, but I said yes for Benji Michel. And then Desart and Grinwis, I said no.
I want to point out that when we were talking about the Sergio Santos trade to FCC, and we talked about ability off the bench, you slandered him for having like 4 goals off the bench. And now you have come in and said Benji Michel is a good option off the bench when he has come off the bench and scored 1 goal all season. And I don't stand for that sort of slander. So it's a good
Listen,
thing I'm sitting down.
my whatever I said, it clearly it was true because Sergio Santos didn't even get to play at all. But uh, Benji's still pretty young. I feel like he could get better and he could have fresh legs when he comes. I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. That Tesho Akindele could probably have better results, but it seems like minutes wise, Benji Michel kind of soaks up the minutes a bit better, considering he had like 1,000 more minutes than Akindele.
Yeah, Benji Michel hasn't broken 5 goals, you know, ever. So for me, Pereira also gone, but I agree with you. I think somebody gets him. Somebody gets him quick. Depending on the situation with Red Bull, I wouldn't be shocked to see them try and bring in another American youth international and see if they can turn him into something. Pereira stays. Um, Cartagena has 1 more year, and I believe they loaned him in during the winter transfer window, if I remember correctly. Um, so I believe they bring him back just to see if they can.
When is the winter transfer window? Are you saying like start of the season?
No, the one that we just went through it like a couple months ago, or not a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago. We did a whole episode on it. What are we talking?
A couple weeks ago. No, I don't remember this at all.
Jesus. Anyways,
If that's the case, then yeah, that may end up changing my answer. if he only
because
has been here for so short a time.
because he only got here in August. Okay, so maybe not like the winter transfer window, but only in August did he get here. So he hasn't had a ton of games to do it. Um, so I say he comes back and they see what they can get from him, especially if Pereira doesn't come back. It breaks my heart, but Alexander Pato is not coming back. Um, that I think that injury ended it for him. John Matinho comes back. Benjamin Michel doesn't come back, as we have spoken about already. Tasha Akindele does come back, kind of the flip side for you. Um, Experience and ability, and he's been there forever. So Joey Desart and Adam Grinwis do not come back. Next up, team did not make the playoffs this year.
Houston.
Houston. Pick somebody other than Houston. Try again.
Vancouver.
Correct. Julian Grasso, Lucas Cavallini, Christian Gutierrez, Javian Brown, Leo Owusu, Jake Nerwinski, Michael Baldissimo, Luis Martins, Fiorian Youngworth, Cody Cropper, Marcus Godinho, Tosaint Ricketts, Isaac Bomer, and Mateo Campagna. For me, Grasso coming back is obvious. The amount of money you spent to get him, you don't drop him after a year. Lucas Cavallini also comes back. I think they're finally starting to get him and Brian White to work together a little bit. I think next year they'll be a little bit better. Christian Gutierrez comes back. I think some injuries held him back this year, last year, so he didn't really get in the flow of things. But I think he has the ability to be very good. Javian Brown, rookie of the year last year. Yeah, rookie of the year last year. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
he was
does sound about right.
he was our rookie of the year. We voted him that. I was like, wait a second.
Well, what's the more important award here? I mean, I think it's
Correct.
ours, right?
Correct. We should send him like a paper plate award. Be like 2021 rookie of the year.
Congrats.
Yay.
This podcast with 50 viewers said you're the rookie of the year.
I have Leo Owusu not coming back. Just didn't really get into things at Vancouver. And when he did, he wasn't super successful. Bottom 10 player for them. Jake Nerwinski, I think he is also done. Bottom 10 player after a lot of these years with Vancouver's defense not being as strong as it probably should. It's time to get rid of time to start turning it over and seeing what you can get. So I think he's gone, but another one who I think will get claimed off of waivers pretty quickly. Baldissimo's gone, didn't get into it this year, and I didn't see any injuries with him unless I missed something. Luis Martins, I have him coming back. Same thing. Another guy who had a bit of injuries over the last couple of months. So I think he comes back and is a bit more successful. Fiorian Youngworth, gone. Bottom 5 player for them. And we all know my feelings on him, so I won't dwell on that too long. I think Cody Cropper's gone. I think they go find somebody from their youth system, maybe an Isaac Bomer, for example, to be the backup, as Inter Miami have scored and it's taken away for offside. Higuain is not happy. Marcus Godinho. Marcus Godinho comes back. 12 appearances, 11 sub appearances at the right mid, right wing spot. Just as somebody that they can work in as it goes on. Tosaint Ricketts gone. What is he now? 35. Yeah, 35 going on 36. That's a little bit too far over the magic number for me. Isaac Bomer, a very good goalkeeper for Vancouver too. And Campagna, I believe he was a center back, if I look at it quickly.
Yeah, I think he's pretty young too, if I remember right.
I believe he was 18.
Yeah, 18. I think he actually is a midfielder.
They have him listed as a center back on good old transfer market here, but he's a member of the Canadian U20 side. 16 appearances in MLS Next Pro. We talk about needing to revamp that defensive back line. He might be a part of it, but I think they both come back.
Yeah. I have mainly the same things. I got a couple that are different. I said Jake Nerwinski comes back. I don't think he makes. I just checked his salary. I think he makes 280,000. I bet you might be able to get him around that same salary, and I think he could be a good depth piece. I don't think he's necessarily like at starter level if you're looking at compete at the top level in MLS. But I think he would be a good bench guy for them, and someone that has obviously been with the team for a very long time. I said no to Luis Martins. I think with the injury problems and considering he's 30 at this point, I think you go with Christian Gutierrez and then you try to find someone else to back them up. Um, and then I think the only other one I said differently was Cody Cropper. I said he comes back. He's on a very cheap salary right now. He's, in my opinion, he's one of the most solid backups in the league. He's a guy that can step in and hold down the fort if something were to happen to the number one. So, if Cropper is willing to come back, I think they should bring him back.
Yeah, it's always the funny part about the backup goalkeeper role is it's always about if you want to, not about if
Mhm.
you are told to. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you.
Moving on, this next team is primed for a breakout in 2023.
SKC?
Yes, sir. I keep forgetting. You can probably see where I'm highlighting things.
Oh no, I didn't.
uh, yeah, that might be a spoiler alert for predictions for next season, but
Bold
I'm high on
predictions.
SKC. Um, Kyrie Shelton, Cameron Duke, Andrew Fontas, Courtney Ford, Tim Melia, Nicholas Ismiat Marine, Roger Espinoza, Graham Zusi, Kendall McIntosh, Cave Rod, and Ozzy Cisneros. Tell me what you think, friend.
Okay, friend. I got Shelton not coming back. I just don't think his level of production up top has been good enough. And he is getting pretty close to 30 now. I think he,
Crazy. That's so
yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy. I remember when he was like, wasn't he on NYC at the start?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was drafted.
Yeah, I remember when he was much younger and on NYC. That's pretty wild to me. Um, I got Cameron Duke coming back. Pretty obvious. Young, getting pretty good minutes now. Uh, so next couple, there's a few center backs on here. I personally don't think that they will drop all of them. Um, and I think they would bring back Fontas. I think he's been consistently in that team for a few years now. I mean, let me check just to make sure I'm not spewing a bunch of baloney right now. Yeah, he's been here since 2018. He's been here for a number of seasons. He's been a consistent starter the last two, and I think he comes back over Isamat Marine and Courtney Ford. Um, so in my opinion, I think those two don't come back the next year. Tim Melia was a really tough one. It is a really tough one, but I think if you can get him to take a pretty good pay cut and come back as a number two and be the mentor for number one and be there, like, I mean, I'm not saying he's completely out of the chase for number one. Like if he comes back and he finds that form again, by all means. But I absolutely understand why like somebody would say they don't think he would come back, considering he's much older now and he had a pretty rough year this year. But I think
I'm gonna pause you really quick. NYC versus Inter Miami update. Drake Callender gives the ball away in the back. NYC go through, chip the ball over him. Amime Mbika hits the ball off the bar, and then it's volleyed off of the post in a FIFA-like clearance by the defender. The defender put it back off the post, and they clear their lines. The most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. Please continue.
you got pretty low expectations. Um, yeah. So then we got Roger Espinosa. I said yes, he comes back. Graham Zusi. Zusi's a tough one. Zusi's getting older at some point in time. Gonna have to call it quits on Zusi, but I originally put no, but considering that they have an option for Zusi, I'm gonna change that to yes. Kendall McIntosh, I said no, considering he only played 2 games last season, and because I said I think Tim Melia would come back. If Tim Melia doesn't come back, I think there's a much higher chance that he comes back. Then Rod and Cisneros. Sorry, Rod, I said no as well. And then Cisneros, I said yes. I think he'll come back considering he's only 18.
Um, so for me, we're very similar. I also have Kyrie Shelton not coming back with William Magada in, as well as Mr. Alan Polito coming back. I don't think there's room for him, and I don't think he wants to be a number three. Um, Cameron Duke, I have coming back. I think he is a person to build around. Um, we'll see for how long, but um, I do think that he will find some form this year. I have Andrew Fontas not coming back. So you think about it that in most systems, teams are playing with two. So that means there are 40 or what is it, 50, 56 center backs to pick from. And he is like 37th or something like that among all center backs in the league right now, according to WhoScored.com. Um, with Nicholas Ismaat Marine like two spots behind him. So I said Fontas does not come back with Espinoza coming. I'm sorry, Ismaat Marine coming. I said Courtney Ford does not come back, especially with the doping scandal that he was a part of. I don't think they take that back anymore. And then comes the fun part. Roger Espinoza, Graham Zusi. Guys who have been here forever and a day. I have them both coming back. I think they're going to go one more year. Basically, I think what happens is when Peter Vermees is out, those guys are out. I think they all go together as one big crew. Kendall McIntosh, I originally had yes until I realized that John Pulskamp is a person. So Kendall McIntosh is gone, but again, I think somebody picks him up. I think he's a good number two. Kave Rod did not do enough for me when I was looking up some things for SKC2, so I have him gone. And then Cisneros, yes, but right down to SKC2.
Go team.
The final team of the episode is playing right now.
Well, obviously it's NYC.
Good job. And it's a quick one. Santi Rodriguez, loan expiration coming up. Maxi Morales, Justin Hack, Cody Mizell, Vuk Latinovic, and Kevin O'Toole. For me, Santi Rodriguez with the loan expiration. There was no purchase option. Now, it would be great for them to come pick him up because he's been fantastic this season, but I don't know if his parent club will let him go. So I'm going to say no there. Maxi, much like Mauricio Pereira, I think has a spot, so I think they will find a way to get him in there. Justin Hack, just for the legend that he is back. But no, I think he's found a way to be kind of starting to make his way onto the sub bench, get some substitute minutes. So I think I think he comes back and resumes that role. Cody Mizell, I don't see him making a return. Vuk Latinovic, I don't see him making a return as they now have three center backs and will probably go out and get a fourth at some point. And Kevin O'Toole starting this game against Inter Miami has found himself in a position where he's kind of needed. So I'm going to say he comes back.
What position does Kevin O'Toole play?
So originally I thought, and I might be wrong, but I thought he was a striker.
On
However,
on FB ref, he's listed as a forward and a defender.
Yeah, so I thought he came in at striker against Red Bull when they played, but he is currently playing left back.
Interesting.
Oh, he's a Red Bull Academy product who made the jump to New York City. What a hater. You know what? He's cut.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to change your mind on that
See
one
ya. Get out.
then? So I think I had two different than you had. I said they bring back Santi Rodriguez. I agree with you that I don't think it would be super easy to do, but I feel like you got to take a shot at it. And I feel like somebody in the attack, whether that's like Abair, Tyus Magno, Gabby Pereira, is gonna leave, whether they're sold or just like cut. So I feel like they would bring him back if that's the case. If they keep everybody, then it's gonna be a lot tougher. but I think they also have the Tati money that they could spend right now to bring back Santi Rodriguez.
Sure, and I think, as I said, I think he'd prefer to be here personally. I mean, he could go back and play in the Uruguayan First Division, but I mean, New York City is a great place to be. And right now, I just looked at some of their squad by position on transfer market for this group. Um, they do have three attacking midfielders, a couple right wingers, a couple center mids, but they only have one left wing, so might be able to turn that into something. But um, he might not slide right into starting 11 like he is right now. So um, it might not be the hardest thing.
Yeah. And then the only other change I had was I did not have Kevin O'Toole coming back, considering, I mean, I don't know if maybe he's been playing like the last 3 games, but he only has played 3 games this year, I believe. So,
Yeah, so he played Campeones Cup. He played 3 in MLS. He played 1 in the Open Cup, and he has 10 in MLS Next Pro. Um, I think there's a future for him here. They drafted him this year, so I'd be shocked if he doesn't. But um,
all right. Fair enough.
that's just me. All right, well, that's it for the first half of this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, of course. If you want, you probably should, but if you really want to, go ahead and give us a follow on social media and anywhere you get your podcasts so you know when we go live. Um, Make sure you interact with us. Go ahead and tell us something. Hello, Connor's wrong. The usual greetings. Um, this will go up on Monday, I'm assuming, or maybe Wednesday. I don't know which one it'll be. We'll figure it out. But the next episode will be the second half of this, and we will continue on doing the same exact thing. So if you want to hear, if your team wasn't mentioned and you want to hear what we think about their roster situation, come on back and listen to the next episode. Anything else you want to add, Connor?
I do not.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.